You may have felt it recently, a quiet confusion that is difficult to explain. Nothing is completely wrong, yet nothing feels fully right. You move through your days fulfilling responsibilities, speaking with people, completing tasks, but somewhere beneath the surface, a question remains unanswered. Where am I going? Perhaps you wake with a subtle heaviness, not despair, not crisis, just a sense of disconnection from your own direction. You look at others who seem certain, decisive, confident, and silently you wonder why clarity feels so distant from you. The Stoics understood this feeling long before modern life complicated it. They knew that feeling lost is not failure. It is often the beginning of awakening, because only those who question their path are capable of consciously choosing one. Modern life overwhelms the mind with possibilities. You are told you can become anything, but unlimited options create invisible pressure. Every choice feels permanent. Every delay feels like falling behind. Every comparison feels like evidence of inadequacy. You scroll through lives that appear complete, while yours feels unfinished. You measure progress against timelines that were never truly yours. And slowly, uncertainty transforms into self-doubt. The mind begins searching endlessly for certainty. Should I change direction? Should I try harder? Did I make the wrong decisions? Overthinking becomes an attempt to control the unknown. Yet the more you analyze, the further clarity seems to retreat. The Stoics observed something simple but profound. Confusion often arises when we try to control what cannot yet be known. There are moments when life removes familiar structures. A relationship changes. A career feels empty. A goal once meaningful loses its power. You stand between what was and what has not yet formed. This space feels uncomfortable, but the Stoics recognized it as a necessary phase of transformation. Nature itself moves through periods of uncertainty. Seeds grow underground long before visible change appears. Feeling lost is often life reorganizing you internally. Not punishment, preparation. The first Stoic lesson emerges quietly here. You do not need to know everything right now. You only need to know what belongs within your control. Your effort, your character, your response to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the future is uncertain, but action in the present is always available. When you feel lost, the mind seeks distant answers. The Stoic returns attention to immediate conduct. How will you act today? Clarity often follows movement, not analysis. Perhaps you notice how uncertainty triggers emotional reactions. Impatience, frustration, comparison. You may judge yourself for not being further along. You may interpret confusion as personal inadequacy, but the Stoics practiced a discipline rarely taught today. The discipline of perception. Events themselves are neutral. Meaning is assigned by judgment. Feeling lost does not mean you are failing. It may mean you are evolving beyond a previous identity, and evolution always begins with disorientation. The second Stoic lesson reveals itself through endurance. Modern culture seeks comfort quickly. Immediate certainty, immediate success, immediate answers. But the Stoics trained themselves to endure ambiguity. They understood that character strengthens during uncertain periods. You learn patience. You learn resilience. You learn that identity is not fixed but cultivated. Endurance transforms confusion into wisdom. You remain steady even when direction is unclear, and stability during uncertainty becomes a form of strength. Consider relationships. You may feel lost because your connections no longer reflect who you are becoming. Conversations feel shallow where they once felt meaningful. You sense distance without conflict. Growth sometimes creates silent separation. The Stoics did not fear change in relationships. They accepted that people enter and leave according to life's unfolding. You can care deeply without forcing permanence, love without possession, connection without dependency. When you stop resisting change, loneliness softens into self-discovery. Work often intensifies this feeling of being lost. You may have pursued success believing it would provide fulfillment. Yet achievement alone rarely answers deeper questions. The Stoics distinguished between external success and internal alignment. A role title or status cannot replace purpose rooted in character. When work feels empty, it may be inviting reflection rather than escape. What kind of person are you becoming through what you do each day? Purpose emerges less from destination and more from the quality of action. Social media amplifies confusion. It presents polished outcomes without revealing the uncertainty behind them. You compare your unfinished journey to another person's highlight. The Stoics warned against confusing appearance with reality. Comparison distracts from self-knowledge. Your path cannot resemble another's because your nature, circumstances, and timing are uniquely yours. The moment you return attention inward, clarity begins to form quietly. The third Stoic lesson is acceptance, not resignation. Acceptance. You cannot control how quickly life reveals its direction. You cannot force certainty, but you can cooperate with reality instead of resisting it. Amor fati, love of fate. Trust that even confusion serves a purpose you may not yet see. Acceptance removes unnecessary suffering. You stop asking why life feels uncertain. You begin asking how to meet uncertainty with dignity. There may come a moment when you realize the real struggle is not being lost. It is fearing being lost. You resist uncertainty because you believe clarity should already exist. But what if uncertainty is the path itself? The Stoics believed wisdom grows through experience, not prediction. You learn who you are by acting, reflecting, adjusting. Life becomes a conversation rather than a problem to solve. The fourth Stoic lesson invites self-command. When direction feels unclear, emotions often become unstable. You may swing between hope and doubt, motivation and fatigue, confidence and insecurity. The Stoics practiced emotional governance. They did not wait for inspiration. They cultivated consistency. You wake, you act well, you fulfill duties, you improve character, even without certainty. Especially without certainty. Through consistent action, identity stabilizes, and stability creates direction. The fifth lesson is solitude. Feeling lost often brings isolation, but solitude allows honest conversation with yourself, away from expectations, away from comparison. The Stoics frequently withdrew into reflection to regain clarity. In silence, you rediscover values untouched by external pressure. You learn to enjoy your own company, and when solitude becomes peaceful, fear of uncertainty diminishes. You realize you are never truly lost while you remain present with yourself. The sixth Stoic lesson concerns perspective. You are living a single chapter, not the entire story. Many moments that once felt confusing later revealed meaning. The Stoics reflected daily on impermanence. Life is vast. Your current uncertainty is temporary within a larger unfolding. Zooming out softens anxiety. You recognize that direction often appears only in hindsight. Patience becomes wisdom applied to time itself. The seventh and final lesson is inner sovereignty. When you feel lost, external anchors disappear. This forces a powerful discovery. Your stability cannot depend solely on circumstances. It must arise from within. You cultivate values independent of outcome. Integrity, presence, kindness, reason. You stop defining yourself by location in life. You define yourself by how you live wherever you stand. And something remarkable happens. You no longer need perfect clarity to feel grounded. You carry direction internally. Slowly, the feeling of being lost transforms. It becomes openness rather than fear, possibility rather than confusion. You begin trusting life again. Not because you know what comes next, but because you trust your ability to meet whatever arrives. The Stoics did not promise certainty. They promised resilience, a mind capable of peace even while walking unknown paths. So perhaps tonight, instead of asking where your life is going, ask something quieter. How can you walk this moment with calm strength? How can you act with dignity, even without complete answers? Because being lost may not mean you have strayed from your path. It may mean you have finally stepped onto one that belongs entirely to you. And I leave you with this reflection. If uncertainty is not an obstacle but an invitation, what part of yourself might life be asking you to discover right now? There is a stage in feeling lost that few people speak about. After the initial confusion, after the restless search for answers, a quieter realization begins to emerge. You cannot think your way into certainty. You may have spent long periods analyzing your past decisions, replaying conversations, reconsidering opportunities, imagining alternative versions of your life. The mind believes clarity lives somewhere in perfect understanding. Yet the Stoics recognize that life rarely reveals meaning in advance. Meaning unfolds through participation. You understand life by living it, not by solving it beforehand. And perhaps this is why feeling lost feels so uncomfortable. It removes the illusion that you can control the future through thought alone. You may notice how strongly the mind resists uncertainty. It searches for guarantees, a perfect plan, a definitive calling, a moment when doubt finally disappears. But the Stoics observed that even emperors, philosophers, and leaders walked through uncertainty daily. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while reminding himself each morning that confusion and difficulty were natural parts of existence. Certainty was never required for wise action. Only presence was. You do not need absolute confidence to move forward. You only need willingness to act well within the moment you inhabit. There is a subtle freedom hidden here. When you release the demand to have everything figured out, pressure softens. You no longer measure yourself against imagined timelines. You stop believing that everyone else possesses secret clarity you lack. You begin recognizing that most people are navigating uncertainty quietly. Some hide it behind confidence. Some disguise it through achievement. But uncertainty belongs to the human condition itself. The Stoics accepted this without resistance, and acceptance transformed anxiety into patience. You may also discover that feeling lost strips away false motivations. Goals once pursued for approval begin losing meaning. Paths chosen to satisfy expectation feel heavier. What remains is more honest. What genuinely matters to you? Not what impresses others. Not what appears successful, but what aligns with your character. The Stoics believed virtue, the cultivation of a good character, provided the only stable compass. External direction changes. Inner character endures. When character becomes your guide, being lost externally no longer feels threatening. There is another lesson hidden within uncertainty: humility. You recognize how little can truly be controlled. Plans change despite effort. Outcomes unfold independently of intention. This realization can feel unsettling at first, but humility brings peace. You stop carrying responsibility for forces beyond your reach. You focus instead on what always remains yours: your honesty, your effort, your response to circumstances. The Stoic finds stability not by controlling life, but by mastering participation within it. Perhaps you have experienced moments of quiet. Envy when observing others who seem certain of their purpose. You wonder why clarity arrived for them but not for you. Yet the Stoics warned against judging life by appearances. A clear path does not guarantee fulfillment, and uncertainty does not indicate failure. Some of the most meaningful transformations begin precisely when familiar direction dissolves. Confusion creates space, and space allows reinvention. You may begin noticing a gentle shift inside yourself. Instead of asking, "Where should I be?" you begin asking, "How should I live today?" This question changes everything. The Stoic life is built not on distant achievement, but on daily conduct. You show patience in conversation. You perform tasks with care. You treat others with fairness. You maintain composure under pressure. Day by day, these small acts construct identity, and identity quietly generates direction. There is peace in understanding that purpose is often discovered retrospectively. Looking backward, patterns appear. What once seemed random reveals coherence. The Stoics trusted this unfolding. They did not rush meaning. They allowed life to reveal itself gradually. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply within a chapter whose purpose has not yet become visible. And visibility is not required for progress. Loneliness sometimes accompanies this phase. You may feel separated from earlier versions of yourself. Old ambitions no longer fit. Old habits feel foreign. You stand between identities. The Stoics describe this as transformation of the self. Like a tree shedding leaves before renewal. Growth often looks like loss before it looks like expansion. Do not mistake transition for emptiness. Something new is forming beneath uncertainty. You may also notice that emotional intensity begins to calm. The urgency to define yourself immediately fades. You become more patient with your own process. You allow exploration without self-criticism. You permit uncertainty to exist without interpreting it as danger. This calm acceptance does not remove challenges, but it changes your relationship with them. You stop fighting life. You begin walking with it. The Stoics believed that true direction arises from alignment rather than ambition. Alignment between thought and action, between values and behavior, between inner conviction and external life. When alignment strengthens, clarity follows naturally, not as revelation, but as quiet recognition. You realize you were never completely lost. You were simply learning to listen to yourself beneath noise, and perhaps the deepest lesson reveals itself here. You do not need a perfectly defined future to live meaningfully. You only need to live well now. Act with integrity today. Be patient today. Remain courageous today. Tomorrow's path forms from today's character. The Stoic walks forward not because the road is visible, but because walking itself becomes the practice. So if you feel lost tonight, allow yourself gentleness. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are standing at a threshold where old certainty has ended and new understanding has not yet arrived. This space is sacred. It is where identity reshapes itself, where wisdom begins to replace urgency, where calm strength quietly emerges. And perhaps the question worth carrying forward is not, when will I find my path? But rather, who am I becoming while I walk without one? There is one final realization that often arrives quietly. After long periods of feeling lost, you stop searching for a destination that will finally complete you. For much of life, you may have believed clarity would arrive as a dramatic moment, a revelation, a perfect opportunity, a sudden certainty about who you are meant to be. But the Stoics discovered something far more subtle. Life does not hand you identity. Identity is formed through the way you meet each moment. You do not find yourself all at once. You recognize yourself gradually. Perhaps you notice now that the anxiety of being lost was never truly about direction. It was about trust. Trust that life is unfolding, even when you cannot see its design. Trust that growth occurs beneath visible progress. Trust that uncertainty is not emptiness, but transformation in motion. The Stoics practiced this trust through acceptance of fate. Amor fati, not loving only the pleasant parts of life, but embracing every experience as material for becoming stronger, wiser, and calmer. When you accept that even confusion serves your development, resistance softens. You begin cooperating with life instead of questioning it constantly. There is peace in realizing that no human life follows a straight line. Even the wisest minds experience doubt. Even those remembered as great thinkers struggled with uncertainty. The difference was not that they avoided feeling lost. It was that they continued walking with dignity while lost. They focused on character rather than certainty. They cultivated patience rather than panic. They trusted effort more than prediction. And slowly, meaning emerged from consistency. You may notice a new relationship forming with time itself. You stop rushing your life. You stop measuring yourself against artificial deadlines. You begin allowing experiences to mature naturally. Like seasons changing without force, your direction evolves through lived experience. The Stoics saw time not as an enemy to outrun, but as a partner in wisdom. You do not need immediate answers. You need sustained presence. There is also forgiveness that arises here. Forgiveness toward past versions of yourself. Decisions made without full understanding. Paths chosen from limited awareness. Moments when fear guided you instead of clarity. The Stoics practiced compassion toward their own imperfections. They understood that wisdom is built from error observed honestly. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every confusion refined perception. Every difficulty strengthened endurance. Every detour expanded understanding. Your past was not a mistake. It was preparation. You may feel something else now. A quiet stability. Not certainty about the future, but confidence in your ability to meet it. This is the heart of Stoic strength. You no longer demand guarantees. You trust your resilience. You know you can endure change. You know you can adapt. You know you can remain calm even when life shifts unexpectedly. And this knowledge brings a profound kind of freedom. You are no longer waiting for life to become predictable before allowing yourself peace. Peace becomes available now. The Stoics believed that inner sovereignty is the highest form of direction. When you govern your thoughts, actions, and values, you are never truly lost. Circumstances may change, roles may evolve, external paths may disappear, but your inner compass remains steady. You carry orientation within yourself. You become at home wherever you stand. And something remarkable happens. You begin appreciating uncertainty. Because uncertainty means possibility still exists. Your story remains open. Your growth remains unfinished. Your future remains alive with potential not yet imagined. Being lost becomes less frightening. It becomes evidence that life is still unfolding. Perhaps now you understand the deeper meaning behind these 7 Stoic lessons. They were never instructions for finding a perfect path. They were invitations to become the kind of person who walks any path with wisdom. A person who remains calm under pressure, who accepts what cannot be controlled, who acts with integrity regardless of outcome, who loves fate rather than resisting it, who builds identity from character rather than circumstance. Such a person is never truly lost, because wherever they go, they carry direction within. So as this quiet conversation reaches its end, allow yourself a moment of stillness. Notice your breath. Notice the calm that exists when you stop demanding immediate answers. Notice the strength already formed through everything you have endured. You have survived uncertainty before. You have adapted before. You have grown in ways you once thought impossible. And perhaps the path you are searching for is not ahead of you, but emerging from the person you are becoming right now. There is a quiet shift that begins once you understand this rule. At first, nothing external changes. The same people speak, the same pressures exist, the same uncertainties remain, but your relationship with them transforms. You begin to notice how often others attempt to influence you through emotion rather than reason, sometimes through urgency. Answer now. Decide quickly. React immediately. Speed becomes a tool of control. The Stoics resisted urgency, not because they were slow, but because they valued clarity over reaction. You start allowing silence between stimulus and response. You pause before answering. You observe before agreeing. And within that pause, manipulation loses momentum. Because manipulation depends on emotional haste, calm awareness interrupts it. You may remember moments when guilt guided your decisions. You agreed to things that exhausted you. You remained in situations that diminished you. You carried responsibility that was never truly yours, not from weakness, from kindness without boundaries. The Stoics understood that virtue requires discernment. Compassion without self-command becomes self-neglect. You begin learning a difficult form of honesty. You can care deeply for others without surrendering yourself. You can refuse without hostility. You can withdraw without resentment. You can stand firm without aggression. This balance is rare, and those who possess it become extraordinarily difficult to manipulate. There is also manipulation that comes from praise. Not all influence arrives through conflict. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in admiration. Approval can be as powerful as criticism. You may have noticed how praise subtly encourages repetition. You begin acting to maintain approval rather than to preserve integrity. The Stoics warned against becoming dependent on applause, because applause changes with circumstance. Character must not. When praise no longer determines your direction, freedom expands quietly. You act according to principle rather than reward. And suddenly, external validation loses authority over your behavior. Another form of manipulation hides within fear of loss, fear of losing connection, fear of losing status, fear of losing opportunity. Fear whispers that peace depends on holding tightly. But emotional pain often teaches the opposite. Everything external is temporary. Relationships evolve. Positions change. Certainty dissolves. The Stoic accepts impermanence not with sadness, but with realism. When you accept that loss is part of life, threats lose power. No one can control you through what you are already prepared to release. This is amor fati again, loving fate enough to stop bargaining with it. You begin to feel lighter, not because life becomes easier, but because resistance fades. You stop fighting every discomfort. You stop interpreting every challenge as personal injustice. You stop needing reality to behave differently before allowing yourself peace. This is the discipline of perception. Events remain neutral. Meaning arises from judgment, and judgment belongs to you, always. There may come a moment when others notice your change. They may ask why you seem calmer, why arguments no longer provoke you, why you do not defend yourself as urgently as before. Some may misunderstand. They may interpret calmness as indifference. But you know the truth. You are not disengaged. You are deliberate. You choose which battles deserve energy. You choose which opinions deserve attention. You choose which emotions deserve action. Choice replaces impulse, and choice restores dignity. The Stoics believe dignity comes from alignment between thought and action. When you act against your own judgment to satisfy pressure, internal conflict arises. You feel unsettled without knowing why. But when action aligns with inner conviction, peace follows, even when outcomes remain uncertain. You learn to trust quiet intuition, shaped by reflection rather than reaction. You begin living from principle rather than persuasion. And slowly your presence changes. You become less reactive to emotional turbulence around you. Others may still rush, panic, argue, persuade. You remain steady, like a still point within movement. This steadiness reveals something surprising. Manipulation often disappears, not because you resist it aggressively, but because you no longer provide emotional leverage. People cannot provoke urgency where patience exists. They cannot provoke insecurity where self-knowledge exists. They cannot provoke dependence where inner sovereignty exists. You become psychologically independent, and independence reshapes every interaction. Loneliness sometimes accompanies this stage. You may notice fewer dramatic conversations, less emotional intensity, less chaos. At first, quietness may feel unfamiliar, but the Stoics cherish solitude because it strengthened independence from external noise. You learn to enjoy your own company. Your thoughts become companions rather than adversaries. And when solitude becomes peaceful, fear of abandonment fades. No one can manipulate someone who is not afraid of being alone. There is another transformation unfolding beneath the surface. You stop seeking control over people. You stop trying to change others' behavior. You stop persuading reality to match expectation. Instead, energy returns inward. You refine your reactions. You cultivate patience. You practice endurance. Self-command replaces external control, and paradoxically, relationships often improve, because calm presence invites trust more than force ever could. The Stoics described freedom as mastery over desire and aversion, not eliminating desire, but refusing to be ruled by it. You desire connection, yet remain whole without it. You pursue success, yet remain stable without guarantee. You welcome pleasure, yet remain resilient when comfort disappears. Balance emerges, and balance cannot be exploited. You may now begin sensing the deeper meaning behind the Stoic rule. It is not about protecting yourself from others. It is about protecting your mind from unconscious surrender. Every day offers countless impressions, seeking entrance into your inner world. Some deserve attention, many do not. Your task is not to control the world's behavior. Your task is to decide which impressions deserve belief. This discipline creates psychological clarity, and clarity creates freedom. Imagine moving through life knowing that nothing external can compel your inner state without consent. Conflict becomes manageable. Uncertainty becomes tolerable. Pressure becomes training. You respond thoughtfully rather than defensively. You remain kind without becoming vulnerable to manipulation. You remain strong without becoming rigid. Calm strength replaces emotional armor, and gradually you realize something profound. The Stoic rule was never about becoming resistant to others. It was about becoming loyal to yourself, loyal to reason, loyal to character, loyal to inner peace. You no longer abandon your judgment to preserve comfort. You stand quietly aligned with who you are becoming. So now, as this reflection continues unfolding within you, notice your own reactions today. Notice moments where emotion attempted to take command. Notice moments where silence might have protected peace. Notice moments where approval influenced decision. Awareness itself is the beginning of freedom. The Stoics believed transformation does not arrive through sudden change. It arrives through repeated moments of conscious choice, moment by moment, thought by thought, response by response. And perhaps the real power of this Stoic rule is not that it makes you resistant to manipulation, but that it returns you to authorship of your own life. You stop being shaped unconsciously by circumstances. You begin shaping yourself deliberately. And in doing so, you discover a rare form of strength, a mind that cannot be easily persuaded away from peace. Take a quiet breath now. Consider gently. If your reactions create your experience of the world, what would happen if you chose every response as if your inner freedom depended on it?